Hey, sister travelers. Are you obsessed with travel and you have so many places you want to go on your bucket list? Well, hold on to your hats here and grab your laptop because I'm going to share how you can save money and see more places in your travels. Is fear holding you back from traveling because you don't have anyone to go with? Are you concerned about being a woman traveling alone and not sure how to prepare for a solo trip? Do family and friends think you are crazy for even considering solo travel? Well, in this podcast, you will become equipped to travel safely by yourself. You'll learn things like tactical travel tips and how to prepare for a trip and how to overcome the fear so you can discover the transformation that travel can bring. My mission is to see more women over 50 discover how travel can empower them. If you want to enjoy your next travel adventures solo, then start your journey here. Hello, sister travelers. I'm Cheryl, solo travel advocate and travel coach. I have experienced life-changing adventures through travel, and I want the same for you. So stay tuned here every week, and you will learn to find freedom through your travels, build your confidence while safely navigating new places. Welcome back, sister travelers. So today I'm going to share with you how to save money by actually planning your trip backwards. Now, what does that mean? Well, it actually means that you have to be flexible with where you're going. Maybe you're flexible on dates, and you can go ahead and pick those based on the cheapest flights that you find. So how do you do that? Well, this is only as long as you can be flexible with your time and maybe you have a list in front of you and one of the cheaper places is on your list, or you're open just to new places that might be a little cheaper than where you originally thought. So where are you going to go? Well, I'd like you to go to Google Flights. If you have not discovered Google Flights as a great search engine for yourself, then you need to bookmark that right now. And what you're going to do is you're going to put in your home airport, and then you're not going to put a place or a date in the next box, but you're going to look at the map and see where they're showing there are cheap flights leaving out of your airport, your home airport. And you can look at domestic and you can look at international and what they are showing. And so maybe you find something that, you're interested in, and you can click on that and it'll show you what airlines are offering that. And then you would also click that and you can play with some dates once you get there, which once you find a place, you'll go to Google Flights. Let me get you through here. Google Flights, and then click Explore, which is on the left. There's some icons on the left column. Click Explore, and that's where you're going to put in your home airport. But then don't put any dates or a place that you've planned to end up at, okay? Then it's going to show you on a map the different places that are cheap to fly. They'll give you various prices. There's going to be some that are going to be high, but you want to look for those that are a little cheaper so that you can get more than one trip in, right? And then once you see one that you like, then maybe put in that place, go back to that left column. It's under Explore. There's a little icon that says Flights. And that's where you're going to click that. And you can play with dates. Once you get a destination in mind, you'll go to the calendar, which once you put your home airport and then you put the place that you saw a cheaper flight that you're interested in, then right next to that on the right is the dates. Don't fill in the dates yet. Still, just click the calendar and it's going to pop up for all the months, and it's going to show you the different prices based on the day, the month, and you can go several months ahead and see if it's any cheaper to fly during certain times of the year. As we know, it usually is. So keep that in mind as well when you're looking to book flights. We obviously know summertime is the height of vacations, and obviously it's an increased price during that time. Flights are more expensive, accommodations are more expensive. So, as I have mentioned before, if you can travel outside of those summer months and what we call sort of the shoulder season, where that is the month or two before summer and the month or two after that summer rush. So what is summer? It is typically June, July, August are really those high months. You could even count that last week in May as a possibility. In America, we have Memorial Day weekend. People often start traveling that week. Certain schools are actually even out. You think about colleges are done usually middle of May. So even the end of May could start to see increases in prices. Once school goes back into session, usually mid-August, even beginning of September, that's when you're going to see prices start to drop. Okay? And the other thing to keep in mind is if you are willing to play with the idea of flying out of a different airport outside of your home airport. Maybe there's not cheap flights coming out of your airport. Now, my sister lives in Austin, and she has said that Austin is not known for having cheap flights. It's hard for her to get flights out of Austin that are reasonably priced. And sometimes it's cheaper for her to even just drive to Dallas and catch a flight out of Dallas to wherever she's going. Because Dallas is a bigger hub. So if you think about those cities that are bigger hubs, and maybe you live in a city that doesn't have a big airport. So if you are able to and willing, I'm going to give you 5 large airports that out of the U.S., you're flying out of the U.S., and you want to fly internationally, particularly, these are going to give you the best deals. There's 10, but these are top 5. I used one of these for my flight to Paris to get a cheap flight. And then I used points to get to this airport domestically. So your top 5 airports. And again, if you are looking to find cheaper ways to fly so you can book more flights, right? So you can do more trips than just one really large, expensive trip, then you may want to consider playing with not just dates, as we talked about, playing with different days or being open to where you go. You can look at these 5 airports as great hubs to fly internationally. So number 1, of course, is JFK. It is one of the best known airports for international travel. Think about it. It is fairly close to Europe. You just go over the ocean there. It's close to Ireland and England, and it's got a lot of direct flights to London particularly. So if you can get to London, and then even from there, you can get to lots of parts of Europe from that point. Number 2 is Dulles in D.C., Washington, D.C., another big hub. Chicago, O'Hare Airport. Not Midway, although Midway is large itself. Chicago O'Hare seems to have the best international flights. Newark, New Jersey. Again, not too far from JFK and New York City. Another big, great airport to come out of internationally. Not the best airport, though, in general. I just have to say that. Okay. And then, of course, LA. LA is huge, huge. And LA is great for some other travels to, I would say, the other side of course, the continent. So if you're trying, or the world, if you're trying to get more to Hawaii or Japan or over that way, Australia, getting out of LA might be your best bet. So you might find cheaper flights coming out of LA to those other destinations. So things to really think about. If you are flexible and you really are like me and you want to get the most for your dollar, you want to have more trips than just one extravagant trip, although those are not a bad thing. I have a client that takes my Pilates classes that is taking this remarkable trip. She is going through Viking, and I'm not a sponsor, and Viking offers some beautiful trips, and she's going to be gone for several weeks, I think almost a month actually, and so she's like just spending this watch. She's been saving for years, she said. But the sad part is she now, after this trip, she said her next big trip won't be until she retires. So to me, that's kind of sad because I'd rather have a trip every year as opposed to one every maybe 5 years, right? So this is a great way where you can be flexible about where you travel. And if you're flexible with when you go, using Google Flights as a search engine to locate those cheap flights is going to be your best bet. I would also recommend, once you find that cheap flight through Google Flights, and it's going to list different airlines that offer that flight to that destination that you found, I would book through the actual airlines. See if you can go directly through the airlines. Be careful on some of those offers that are shown in Google Flights. They may be also showing some third party possibly, and sometimes that gets a little convoluted, and refunds and changes are a little more difficult when you go through a third party booking agent or things like that. So just consider trying to go, taking that price that you found and seeing if you can go directly through the airlines to book that flight. So what's on your bucket list? Make a huge list, I'm telling you, and then go to Google Flights, click Explore, see what comes up leaving out of your airport. Or if you want to play with getting even cheaper and more options, then go ahead and enter one of those 5 airports. Maybe you're close to them, or maybe you're like me and you have points and you can get yourself to one of those airports pretty easily and cheaply. I'd love to hear what you found and what your next trip is going to be through this method. And I don't take credit for this. This is actually a method that it used to be called Scott's Cheap Flights, used to recommend to their members. They are now called Going, and they have recommended this style of booking your flights for quite some time now. And so I have them to thank for reminding me of how to look for some good flights using Google Flights search engine. All right, folks, leave some comments and maybe even let me know if you want to message me. Let me know where you're going, or join my Facebook group and tell me where you're going using this method. Let's plan those trips backwards to help you save money so you can get to more places this coming year. Hey, sister travelers, did this podcast inspire and encourage you or move you to get out there and travel? Wonderful. There are 3 ways you can thank me. First one is leave a written review for the show on Apple Podcast. 2, share the show with your sister travelers, your friends, your family. And 3, subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. And thank you again for listening to the show. Sisters, be fearless, take the leap, and get out there and have an adventure.